Thank you for listening to the Pull It Back podcast, where we talk sports, news, debates, and everything in between to get you in the know. This is the Pull It Back podcast. Thank you for listening to the Pull It Back podcast with Mike and Andy. We're going to start this week off with some NFL news. There's some big news that Nick Foles, of course, him being the quarterback for the Eagles that took them to the Super Bowl, won their very first Super Bowl, and also pulled them on a really good playoff run this year. He's supposed to be interested in going to the New York Giants if he becomes a free agent.
Really?
That's what the rumor is right now, yes.
That's big.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary, man, because Nick Foles is pretty good here in his later years, and that'd be a force to be reckoned with if he can keep that passing game alive and have Saquon Barkley in the backfield and have Odell Beckham to throw to. I think it'd be a pretty good
that'd be pretty serious. Do you think the offense could get it together on the Giants enough to actually give them those chances?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'd they'd have to really work on the offensive line because that was one of the bigger problems this year. But I really do think that they could get it.
So what are they going to do with Eli in the meantime? Eli's won 2 fucking championships, man.
I know, but the only thing is that he's been falling off, and it's either he's going to stick around too long to where they're going to have to kick him out.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, dude, you got to retire, or we'll trade you, whatever you want to do. So
that's rough, man.
I know it's rough, but I mean, you can't. They expect to go to the Super Bowl every year. Every team does.
Right, of course. Yeah, he's had a serious try. Well, and the thing is, he won against the greatest of all time.
Twice. But in defense of that, it was also they were huge underdogs in each one. Which, I mean, that's just how the game goes. They're underdogs, but they were huge underdogs and barely won with miraculous plays. Like miracles had to happen for them to win.
It still happened.
It was never convincing.
But it still happened.
Well, irregardless, Nick Foles.
How dare you?
Nick Foles might be going to the Giants. That's the rumor right now. So ESPN was reporting that the Packers could make a strong push for Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we're trying to think if, Le'Veon Bell is basically sat out the entire 2018 season, asking for more money because he was franchise tagged by Pittsburgh. So now they're saying the Packers might take a run for him.
Yeah, and he didn't do very well with the Steelers.
No, he didn't. I mean, well, he did really good with the Steelers, I'm sorry. But I don't know if he's going to be able to continue that because, like I said, he sat out the whole year. He wants more money. I mean, he deserved it, but does he still is going to be the question. Because like I said, he hasn't played football in over a year. And from what everybody was saying is that he didn't really train a whole lot while he was in the off season.
So he's got some serious rust going then.
Maybe. He's still young.
If he did no training whatsoever during that hiatus, yeah, that's going to be rough.
Yeah. Well, they're saying the same thing with Antonio Brown, too, because I got to believe that Antonio Brown's not going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. There's just so much crap going on. I mean, but the only thing is that I hope it doesn't go for the same. He's been the model of consistency as far as receivers go, for sure. But if he leaves Pittsburgh, I don't know if his production will stay the same. I mean, most people are going to say, no, he'll probably do a lot better. And I hope he does because the Packers are looking at him too. But, I mean, I don't know if he'll continue because he's been, in the line. I mean, he's been a diva the whole time, but it's reached new heights with this stuff this year.
So, I mean, that begs the question, what team wants to put up with that kind of drama queen if he's not really putting up numbers, but he wants the money? I mean, but even if he does and he's that dramatic about it,
mm-hmm.
I mean, is it really even worth the headache?
I mean,
if he's going to be
if he can produce,
yeah. Yeah, I hear that. But what if he can't?
Well, exactly.
That's a huge
it's a risk.
gamble.
It's a big risk, man. But I mean, if you're going to risk it on anybody, I mean, I would say to do it on Antonio Brown, though.
Yeah, but over Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, maybe. And also, what's bothering me is what's up with his dyed mustache?
Le'Veon Bell?
No, Antonio Brown. All right. So he has like this. Mustache? Yeah. I mean, the rest of his hair is black, and then he dyed just the mustache blonde. And he has like these. He has like a bunch of those thick dreads that come out, like the shorter dreads.
Yeah.
And he has just one of those dreads dyed blonde too. It's the weirdest thing, and I think he's like, maybe it's like fashion.
Maybe it's like the Steelers color.
No, I don't think so. I think he was just like, it's fashion, bro. Look into it.
Yeah, I can't see how that's fashion.
No, it's not.
I mean, you know what? I can't talk shit because back in high school, my hair was very long, if you recall. Mm-hmm. And just full and thick, and now it's not, so I'm sad. But at one point, the tips were blonde.
Yeah, you had your tips glazed.
Yeah, they were super blonde. And I remember my wife, Chelsea, we met in high school, by the way, and she saw that shit, and she was none too pleased. She's like, that shit looks stupid.
It looks really gay.
Yeah. You know, the tight jeans and everything, it just completed the whole image.
Yeah. Well, the two biggest stories from the NFL, at least this weekend, is now this is again just a rumor, but Russell Wilson was apparently seeking out a trade to the Giants as well.
That's not going to happen. I
don't think
like
it
bullshit.
will either. And like I said, it was just rumors about the moment, but this was brought to light by Colin Cowherd. So, I mean, it would be a dangerous team if they had him, Saquon Barkley, and Odell Beckham. But I think the Nick Foles thing is a lot more
that seems
feasible.
More likely. Yeah. It really sucks that I feel like the Eagles kind of shit on Nick Foles in favor of Carson Wentz. Because, I mean, I understand Carson Wentz is good, but I feel like Nick Foles has been way, way more beneficial to their team. I would trade Carson Wentz away and just give the job to Nick Foles.
I don't know about that, man. Because remember, Nick Foles wasn't always very good.
But he's very good in the postseason.
Well, yeah, because this is the first time I think he's made it to the postseason.
Well, twice they made it to the playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, but I'm saying like this is with a good Eagles team. You know, they were always underdogs. I get it, but I don't know, man. He's got that Ryan Fitzpatrick thing about him. Maybe, I mean, not quite, because Ryan Fitzpatrick, you give him a big contract, he's gonna shit the bed no matter what. Nick Foles, I mean, if you get him a good contract, maybe he'll light it up. I don't know. It's a big gamble with him, man.
Yeah, you're real suspicious about that whole money kills the whole thing.
I do believe that. I do believe that. So, but like I said, there's crazier things have happened than Russell Wilson go to the Giants. I mean, Kareem Hunt signed with the Browns. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's legitimate. I really doubt it. I see it. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but I mean, it could. You know,
they're gonna have to offer him an ass load of money to go over there.
Yeah, and the Raiders are supposed to go to Oakland in 2019, so they're supposed to actually play another season in Oakland. Apparently, they made a deal.
Oh, really? Where were they gonna? They were gonna go to L.A. too, weren't they?
They put in a bid for it, but like I said, they were talking about going to Las Vegas, maybe playing in one of the college
that's right, Las Vegas
stadiums. They were going to go play in They were talking about maybe sharing the stadium with the 49ers and playing in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I guess they made a deal and they're going to play at least one more season in Oakland. So that's a good sign before they move to Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, that's still happening.
They're actually okay. It was Vegas. It wasn't L.A.
Vegas.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, the stadium's already like being built. It's almost, I think, like probably 25% done. So they're not backing out of that.
Oh.
But you know, and then also I ran across this thing because I was thinking about it the other day. You remember Josh Gordon?
Josh Gordon?
Yeah, he was the receiver for the Browns. He had a bunch of drug issues, drug addiction issues, so he kept getting suspended.
Doesn't ring a bell. How long ago was this?
This was during this year.
Really?
I mean, it happened last year too, but he came back to the Browns and he was suspended because of the drug policy. He failed drug policy, and then he got traded to the Patriots. The Patriots picked him up.
Okay.
And he was playing really good with Tom Brady, and then he failed the drug test again, and so he got suspended indefinitely from the NFL. So it's just sad to see that because the dude was addicted to drugs, and he missed out on having a Super Bowl ring.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Maybe I'm hoping that opens his eyes to where he's like, damn, man, I could have had a Super Bowl ring with Tom Brady and the Patriots and went down in history as one of the best teams, blah, blah, blah. But them drugs got him out, man.
Pissed it away.
Yeah.
What kind of drugs was he doing? He must have been doing some hardcore shit.
No, I think he was smoking weed, doing crack. I mean, I don't know exactly. I never cared to look what he was doing, but I just know that it was drugs and not good for him.
That sucks.
Oh, it's terrible. So I hope he cleans it up, man, and he comes back because that's messed up to piss away your opportunity, and then that team that you were on
makes
wins
it
the
all
Super
win.
Bowl. Yeah. So it's just sad, man. But anyways, that's all I got for the NFL, man.
Sweet. So let's talk about some cars, man, because I've been noticing lately more and more Honda Civics.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you know a Honda Civic, the little souped-up body kit, or maybe it has
Are you talking about the older Honda Civics?
Yes. Like
mostly hatchbacks.
The Fast and the Furious hatchbacks. Yes, that classic Civic. You know, and I had to do one of those car stereotypes. I was like, I guarantee you, a little white guy, a little douchebag, gets out, flat-brimmed hat, backwards, Oakley's glasses on his head, and he's wearing shorts in winter. A lot of Aeropostale. I was like, that's the guy right there, driving a little souped-up Civic. It just cracked me up. It was one of those things that you're like, yeah, of course he's driving that.
Yeah.
Have
it
you been?
Has tinted windows that are way beyond code.
Yeah.
It's got some type of livery across the front windshield.
Yeah, some ridiculous sticker that makes no sense.
That they bought at AutoZone.
I
put these little sticker grills on the front of my front fenders, these little chrome grills that aren't functional, and they give it at least 30 horsepower.
At least. You throw a turbo sticker on there, it's an additional 150.
It does a quarter mile in under 10 seconds.
My God. I did see an F-150 today that said F-150 turbo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's not a year that had the EcoBoost.
Oh, it wasn't? It's like, well, I put a turbo sticker on it, so that means it's got to have a turbo in it now.
It's got to have a turbo.
That's not how it works, buddy.
Maybe it was an EcoBoost, but it sure didn't look like a year that had the EcoBoost yet.
Well, they put the EcoBoost in the 2011.
Yeah, it might have been. Shoot, might have been a 10 or an 09. Like right when they went to the more boxy look.
Yeah. 09 is when they first did it, and then 2010 was the last year they started using the 5.4.
Yeah. It's the same body, like the same body style as your F-150.
Yeah. I got the 5.4 liter Triton V8.
Ooh, boy, I'll tell you.
That some bitch likes to guzzle gas like nobody's business. It's got. That thing is like the best friend to the oil companies.
Guarantee it.
It's like 12 miles to the gallon.
12 gallons to the mile.
Yeah.
I like my little Hyundai Sonata thing. If you cruise it just right, it'll get 40 miles to the gallon. It's pretty impressive. In eco mode, yeah. It is very uncomfortable, though. It is not comfortable. I mean, it's not like a super high-end trim, but...
Well, still,
it's got all the things you need. It's got, like, Apple CarPlay and all that good stuff, so that's cool. And it's got 3 different ride settings, or 3 different drive modes, I guess. It's like Eco, Sport, and then Comfort.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't tell the difference between any of them. On the sport mode though, the steering gets a little firmer, so that's kind of neat.
That is kind of cool, man, because my Mini does the same thing. It's got a little sport button down by the cup holder, which are really inconveniently placed. And I'll push it sometimes when I'm putting my coffee cup up, and I'll be like, why the hell is it staying in like first gear for so long, or second gear? It's like revving really high, and then I look and the sport button's on, so the steering wheel gets all tight. The throttle response is really like lightened up. It's cool when you need it, but not when you're
semis and stuff.
Yeah, not when you're freaking, just cruising down the highway, and then you go to put your coffee up, and then all of a sudden it's in sport mode, ready to go, and you're just like, oh shit, something's broken. That little car is a tank, though, man. I like that little Mini.
A little Mini. You should you should give it like a lift kit or something, and
I put chains on the front of it.
I know you did for the grill.
When I hit 2 deer. The first deer I did wasn't really that bad of damage. Like, it knocked like the little headlight chrome trim off, and I was like, whatever. Next one I hit knocked the whole grill out, and that one put a hole in the radiator. So I went to go get it fixed. They fixed the engine stuff, and I just put some like chains across the grill, so it'd be like that was the grill. It was just chain. It was like some Mad Max shit.
Dude, it's about like my Dodge Neon. Remember how fucked up my Dodge Neon was for so many years?
Yeah, you used can spray paint to fix the hood.
Yes.
Silver.
No, I paid the thing off after 8 million years, it seemed like, because Automax, shout out to Automax in Clean, Texas. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
They swindled me out of my 01 F-150 that I loved and got me into a Dodge Neon. And you know what? To its credit, I couldn't kill the damn thing until I ran it into a phone pole.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember that.
At first I got into a rear-end collision with my mom, so that fucked everything up. And it ran around with the hood just being crushed for a number of years. They finally
it was more aerodynamic.
Oh yeah, for sure. It had like scoops pushing down on the front of it. So finally paid it off, and then I went and got a new hood for it at the junkyard. And I finally started making it look right. I was going to do some stupid shit to it, make it look cool. As cool as you can make a Neon. And then I hit a deer. Son of a bitch. And then, not too long after that, I hit another deer and ran into a phone pole.
Yeah.
Totaled it. I was like, oh, it's done. Speaking of Dodge Neons, let's talk about some ugly ass cars. What is like your just top 5 ugliest cars?
Right off the bat. I mean, well, let me go from the bottom to the top.
Okay.
Because I think everybody already knows what the top one is. I mean, it's widely known. My least favorite of basically the worst cars ever would be the 1958 Ford Edsel. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
It was hideous, and it was technically not a Ford, kind of like how Ferrari did the Dino.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't technically a Ferrari, but it had Ferrari parts, and it was obviously a Ferrari. Well, the Ford Edsel, right. It was just called the 1958 Edsel, named after Edsel Ford. But it looked just like that. You ever watch Starship Troopers?
Oh yeah.
You remember that big, huge queen bug?
Yeah.
With that big straw that came out of her face that sucked brains out and stuff?
Yeah.
It looked like that.
Oh my god.
That's what the car looked like. And that was
it does.
That was the worst looking car I think Ford had ever made, other than the Pinto. You're looking at it?
Just like it. Yes, it looks just like it.
It looks just like that bug from Starship Troopers. That one, the 1971 Chevy Vega, probably the most bland-looking car ever. I know I'm probably going to hurt a lot of feelings, but I think the 1987 Yugo was a hunk of shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. It was. It was a piece. And then the 1974 Mustang II, which was a travesty.
Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah.
Turbo,
bro. They tried too hard and didn't try hard enough. So that was a hunk of shit. And of course, my number one. Honorable mentions, of course. 2008 PT Cruiser.
Oh.
Cabriolet.
Oh. Wood paneling on the side, faux wood paneling. Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, the one that was like convertible. Remember what I'm talking about?
Tight. That was tight.
Hideous. And then it was
in purple.
then they had the panel sides where it didn't have any back windows because it was already ugly enough. The 2011 Chevy HHR.
It's pretty bad.
That was actually based on the 1947 Suburban.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the design was based off of.
My mother-in-law had one. It was purpled as well, and it was. Let me tell you real quick. Those are some of the shittiest vehicles ever produced.
What, the HHRs?
Yes, yeah, they are the worst. Agree. One of the worst. When I worked for that car company as the finance manager / service manager, I had more issues with HHRs on the lot than pretty much any other vehicle. And I'm talking like catastrophic failures, transaxles going out, motors blowing up, just all kinds of crap going wrong with these things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Chevy when they designed that car and built it, they went fully loaded and half cocked.
Oh yeah.
They completely destroyed that car because, like I said, they designed it off of the Suburban, which was a huge hit, and they were like, we want to make it look like the classic, the very first generation Suburban, and they
just shit.
They destroyed
all of
it.
The bed.
They ruined that poor thing.
I mean, in the early 2000s, middle 2000s, like from, I don't know, 04, 05 to 2010, before manufacturers actually started stepping up to newer, modern looks, sleek lines, eco-friendly, blah, blah, blah. Cars' build qualities were so terrible. Some of the worst ever.
Yeah. I mean,
besides maybe the 80s.
Bar none, man. Well, the 80s, they were just like, let's just stick some shit together with some plastic screws and call it good. Yeah. Well, just to let you know, like I said, I think everybody already knows this. The number one ugliest car, in my opinion, is the Pontiac Aztek.
Pontiac Aztek would be number one for me as well. It is always on the top 10 ugliest cars ever list.
Dude,
always.
it looks like if you look at a side profile of the Pontiac Aztek, it seriously looks like a child's drawing. Like if you told a 4-year-old, "Can you draw a car for me?" and they did the side profile of it, that's exactly what it would look like.
The wheels are all off-centered and the rims are like just crosses.
Yeah. And it's like the back end is like they didn't know how to do the trunks, so they just kind of did like a little angle.
Yeah, well, we'll put some arrow here.
Yeah, but I feel bad for whoever had to buy that. It was cool
because it did come with a tent.
Yeah, that was the only thing that it was worth anything. Like, oh yeah, it has a built-in tent.
But hey, you got to give credit where credit is due. It was a star on Breaking Bad.
I mean, everybody knew that, but it was still the ugliest car in the world, and I think they probably got those for free for the show.
You're probably right. They were horrible. I hold a personal hate for this vehicle. I just think it's disgusting. It was deplorable. I don't know what they were thinking when they drew this thing. Whoever drew it should really be beaten. It was a Japanese company. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. They should be drug out and they should have to commit hara-kiri. Whoever designed the Nissan Juke should be murdered.
That was a hideous car.
The Nissan Juke was the ugliest fucking car anybody has ever drawn ever. Of course, I don't mean the person should be killed, but
they should be put down.
They should be sterilized at the very least.
I think whoever should be sterilized, it should be the guy who designed the Pontiac Aztek. But I mean, it shouldn't have to worry about it because Pontiac doesn't exist anymore for that reason.
Nissan is just doing a horrible design. Their cars are just ugly as shit these days.
I like the Nissan Altima.
The Nissan Altima, maybe. But the rest of them, look, they're just so ugly.
Yeah.
Look at how many cars come out of the Nissan lineup. They're ugly as shit.
I know, most of them are, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I like the Nissan Altima. The Titan looks like shit. I'm sorry.
Titan is garbage.
The front end is about 3 times too big for the rest of it.
It looks like it's just going to go ass over tea kettle.
Yeah.
If you stop too hard.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it looks like it looks like the front end's swollen or something.
I got stung by a bee.
Yeah.
Another one that I find just unattractive as shit is the new Honda Civics.
You know what?
They're so goddamn ugly.
I don't think they're that bad.
I think they're horrible.
At least they tried. At least they're not like Toyota where they just made small incremental updates over the years because they got to play it safe.
I like the Camry.
Well, because you're basic.
But it looks good. It looks like it's going fast. You go fuck yourself. I'm basic. Driving around
Camry.
a Mini. They're great cars. And they look much better than
they're safe,
a lot of
reliable,
vehicles.
and get good gas mileage.
And they'll last forever. You're absolutely right.
Basic.
See? But they work well. Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS method.
I don't think the Honda Civic's that bad. I wouldn't put it in the top 5 ugliest cars.
It's ugly as shit to me because the back end, that's where they just got tired and went home. They're like, oh, round it off. Let's go. And they rounded it off. They gave it cool taillights, but it doesn't fit in there. They stick out.
So a lot of cars do that.
No, it looks stupid. It's not a good-looking hatchback. It's just not. In their sedan is even worse. Their sedan is even worse.
The hatchback's kind of ugly. I didn't. The sedan to me isn't that bad.
I have I have a special hate for the hatchback. The sedan is not as bad, but it is really ugly for a sedan. I wish they would have done some more thought and had the back end a little bit longer because it looks just stubby.
Well,
even on
if anything, they tried too hard to design it good.
Well, see, I think they over-engineered the front, and it looks kind of cool, but the back end doesn't look that great. It's the back end that just – it looks like one of those Will.i.am vehicles that he tried to design.
With the gull-wing doors?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that looked like a kid's drawing, too.
I think that was his kid's drawing. You know, I saw on a lot of lists, believe it or not, a Lamborghini Veneno.
Mm-hmm. Was the
you
ugliest
remember that?
car?
It was like, yeah, it was one of the ugliest cars. They were like, yeah, it's just over. It was just pretentious of Lamborghini, and it just looked so overdone. And I was like, the Veneno was cool as shit.
It's like you're just saying that because you want to be pretentious. You're like, I could never afford it, but I think it looks hideous. It's like, shut up. No, it doesn't.
I'm gonna go spit on its windshield.
Yeah, I don't
like it. It looks like a fucking Batmobile.
You know what? This Honda Civic almost looks like a Subaru. The Impreza?
Yeah.
A little bit. Like, not necessarily the old one, but maybe like 2000. When did they change? 2008? 2007?
I think so.
WRX, whatever. I think it looks kind of like that. It's not a bad looking car, man.
No, I don't like it. I hate it. I do like the Subarus, though. I like the new Subaru WRX. They look pretty good.
They look exactly the same as they did before.
Well, you also hated the Subaru BRZ, which I think looks amazing.
It's so plain because it's the
not
exact same thing as the Toyota AE86. It's the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, it is the same thing, but it still looks good. It's aggressive. I wish they would have done 4-wheel drive though.
Well, they put little Prius tires on it so that way you can do power slides.
But it can.
It's got low rolling resistance.
It's a fast car though.
It's got 200 horsepower, which is, no slouch.
It's rear-wheel drive. It's weighted right, and you can slide it around, and it's controllable. It's a cool car, man.
I don't know.
I wish they would put a lot more power. If they put one of those crazy 2JZ like new inline sixes they're putting in the new Supras.
If they would have put a V6 in it or an inline six, I'd have more respect for it. Also, if they went half-baked on the freaking interior. If that's going to be
a
cross-platform car, the interior it looks just like that Toyota IQ when it first came out.
Yeah, the interior is very cheap. Plastic everywhere. They tried to do some kind of Alcantara, but it just looks bad.
It's like that cheap velvet you buy at like a craft store.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still like that. I still like it. I wouldn't buy one unless they change the interior and the design a little bit.
Yeah, if they added something.
I think the design is great, but if they changed it, refreshed it, gave it a bigger motor, I think that car would be a badass sports
Like if
car.
they did a Toyota GT80 or AE86, like, you know, S model or some shit.
Like I think
like
I think they need. Yeah, I think they need to. I think Toyota needs to make that like the Corolla.
Yeah.
Like do a Corolla coupe. Just, you know, something cool like a Corolla coupe, like, or you could just keep calling it the AE86. That works too.
Yeah, because the AE86 was a Corolla.
That harkens back to that cool ass 80s Corolla.
Yeah.
And that was a cool car, man. That was awesomest. That was one of the best looking cars ever. And you could do so much with that car.
I know it.
And if they brought that back and marketed it as something that was really, really fast, you know, do the black retro rims, that classic gray look.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be awesome, man.
That would be better.
If they brought some special package with power.
I was driving home from work yesterday, and I saw a really nice, like, 67 Mustang. I'm talking, it was definitely restored, right? And
Ooh.
It had I could see the bright red leather interior. You know what I mean? It had the red dash, red steering wheel, red leather seats, bench seats. And it had a Starsky and Hutch paint job, but like reversed. So it was like white with the red stripe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was super nice. And it was on the side of the highway because it had broken down.
No.
I know. I was like, there was nobody in it. There was nobody around it. So I was like, oh, man, I hope that freaking car doesn't get towed or stolen or something.
Oh,
that was sad to see that, man. But anyhow, do you have any more ugly cars?
The Fiat Multipla.
Oh,
that looks like
God.
It looks like a platypus.
Yes, it looks like a car landed on top of another car from a very high height.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Yeah,
it looks like a pancake on top of the Wienermobile.
Yes, yeah. It's like they were like starting to build like a new car, and then they're like, you know what, just put the old stuff on it, and they just like
sandwiched it. It don't fit. I'll fucking weld it up.
Yeah, use some tape. I don't know. Any more ugly cars? Because I have some big news from. There was a big game this past Wednesday. It was the NCAA basketball Duke and University of North Carolina game.
Oh, yeah, I saw commercials for that.
Yeah, it's the biggest rivalry in all of college basketball. And within the first 30, the big story from it was, well, anyways, North Carolina won. They upset Duke. Duke was number 1. North Carolina was ranked number 8. Within 33 seconds of the game, the biggest college basketball player in the world right now, Zion Williams, within 33 seconds, his shoe exploded, and he had a knee injury.
What?
Yeah, he went to go plant his foot, and the shoe ripped apart from the sole. His foot slipped out, his knee buckled, and he has a mild knee sprain now. So after this happened, Nike's stock dropped 2% after this incident.
Whoa! So he was wearing. I guess he was wearing some Nikes.
Yes, obviously he was wearing some Nike shoes, and I mean Nike's. This never happens and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but when it did happen,
dude,
it happened to the biggest star ever in an or not ever, but the biggest star in NCAA basketball during the biggest game, and your shoe explodes. That's not a good look, Nike.
Yeah, Nike's fucking. I'll never buy another pair of Nikes as long as I live. I bought a brand new pair of Nikes at their outlet store, and I got it was a good pair. It was like $50 or $60. I was like, nice deal. So I scooped them up to do training and shit in. I brought them home, and the heel fell off the next day.
The next day?
The next day.
Jeez, dude.
Like, it started peeling off. Yeah, I went and returned them. Yeah, definitely. I was, but the thing was, I traveled to Connecticut with them. And on the flight there, because I wore them on the flight there, that's when they started coming off. and I was walking through the airport, and boom, the thing fell off. I was like, what the fuck? Wow. So I brought him home. I glued him. I brought him home. I tried to glue him. And no go. I brought him to Montana. So when I was running around in the mountains of Montana, I lost him again, and it totally fucked up the shoes. I was pretty pissed.
I haven't owned a pair of Nike shoes in a long time, man. I mean, dude. I do New Balance, bro.
Yeah, I'll buy New Balance. I really like New Balance.
I've had nothing but good things with New Balance, but this thing, like I said, Nike stocks dropped 2%, which is a couple $1 million.
Jesus.
Because they injured the most valuable college basketball player. And so what they did to take the heat off of it is the same day they announced Kaepernick's new icon jersey. So if you don't know, Kaepernick hasn't played for an NFL team in like going on 3 years. And what they did is that they launched an icon jersey. It's just a black jersey with a white number 7 on it. It's void of any NFL logos, but they're still selling it for $150.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's
it's
bold.
Like, it's a true to 7 jersey. So it's like, basically what they're trying to say is that, do you really back up Kaepernick? Because if you don't, and you don't spend $150, you're a dick. It's like, you have to back up Colin Kaepernick. You got to pay $150 to buy this jersey. It's like, no, dude. It's like, why should I buy that jersey? So it basically puts in more demand for these little kids to get, their fingers worked off. That's another thing. Like, I bet you that kid, that little 6-year-old that stitched together that Nike shoe for Zion Williams is probably getting the whip today.
They threw him in a meat grinder. They're going to have him as nuggets later.
They might. Jeez, that's a little rough.
That's what they do.
I know it.
They get to retirement age around 7 or 8. You got to throw them in that meat grinder. Feed them.
I know, man. It's just sad.
It's one of those modest proposal things.
I know, but it's like if you're gonna try to shit on Nike, it's like shit on that part, man. Like, not the fact that Zion, they make shitty products and charge exorbitant amount of money for them.
You know what pisses me off though is, say Nike does make a pretty decent like footwear for the most. I won't buy them again because I had a piss poor experience. I'll buy Asics or New Balance, but their clothes are pretty good. I'd rather Under Armour though. Honestly, Under Armour is well made. It's comfortable. They stay together. But they are so fucking expensive.
I know. All of them are.
I was looking at. I know, it's ridiculous. Under Armour used to be cheap as shit.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't Under Armour in Walmart at one point?
Yes.
Walmart or Target.
Yeah. Well, so is Nike, but it's just the lower end ones.
Well, yeah, but nothing like that now. But
no.
You go to Academy or Cabela's or whatever, and you see all their Under Armour shit. And it's $200 for a nice jacket. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, man! But it's warm as shit. I was like, I'm not buying this, but it's warm.
It's very, very nice.
But their hunting gear, man, their hunting gear is the shit. That's what I mean, not to boast or anything, but when I go hunting, I wear Under Armour cold gear.
Oh, very nice. Oh, that's very nice of you.
Shout out, Under Armour.
You pretentious rich bastard.
No, always on sale. Always on sale.
So, and even more delighting news, R. Kelly got charged on 10 counts of sexual abuse.
Oh. So he was going around on a beach pissing on people, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. So it was from 4 different people, 3 of them being minors between the ages of 13 and 16.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's done, man. I mean, that's the last straw because he's gotten away with it too many times. I think he's screwed. I think he's going to jail for a long time.
God, that reminds me. That's on the level like Patton Oswalt, his bit about somebody was fucking somebody in a Garfield mask.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's talking about the level of damage for strippers, like they have to take to get to that level. He was talking about how, like, somebody, like an uncle, was fucking her in a Garfield mask.
Oh my God.
And that's what brought her to that point. I was like, Jesus Christ. But somebody had to do that to R. Kelly. Like, what makes somebody do that? Get to that level where they're like, I think it's cool to fuck little kids.
He may have gotten vaccinated at a young age.
Oh, that must have did it. God.
Don't vaccinate your kids.
That's so grim, and that, you know, people do that, and then he has to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I was touched at a young age, so I like 13-year-old butts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there was red flags from the beginning, and they let him off like he's still a good guy, but it's like, no, he's not. Like, come on, man.
He's a horrible person.
He's a jackass. But anyways, I don't want to talk about that guy. He's a fucking weirdo, and I hope he goes to jail for a long time. Did you hear about that U.S. woman? She left the country for Syria.
What?
No, there was
no, I haven't heard.
An Alabama woman that was born here in the United States. She was going to college in Alabama, and she used she dropped out of college. She used her tuition money, unbeknownst to her parents, used her tuition money to buy a plane ticket to Turkey. She then joined ISIS and has lived there for 4 years and now wants to come back to the United States.
Wow.
Yeah. Trump came out on Twitter, and said...
like he does.
Yeah, and he said, no way. I'm not letting you back in the country. She was over there for 4 years. She's had 4 husbands. She has an 18-month-old baby. And she's basically said, like, her time over there has been horrible. Like, she's watched everybody die. She's like, it's wars. It's all real. And then she says she knows she ruined her life, and she's accepting full responsibility of her actions and is willing to come back to the United States and go to prison.
So prison is a better alternative to being over there.
Yes.
I'm sure it's by far and away a better option.
Yeah.
But, I think Trump needs to just let her come back and show her, like, you know what? You were a stupid fucking kid. And yes, when you come back, you're going to prison because that's your option. You're going to go to prison for a very long time.
Well, the law is that if you go overseas and knowingly join a terrorist organization, you are not allowed. You basically revoke your U.S. citizenship. So him letting her back in would basically open the door for other people to come back in if they did that.
Not necessarily. How old was this chick when she
20.
did that? She's not even fucking fully formed yet. Like, she's not even an adult.
She's 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean, she is, but she's not a real human. She's a child.
What are you trying to say?
She's a child. What I'm saying is she made piss poor decisions thinking it was the right thing. She's clear. I don't know, but that's where the gray line is.
That's a big decision to make. That's a huge decision to make. You basically stole money from your parents, dropped out of college because they obviously wanted something good for her, and she went to freaking Syria or Turkey and then Syria to join a known terrorist organization that do horrendous things. She didn't think to do the research on it before she went?
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she saw a bunch of these kids going on and on about how, the U.S. is terrible and they're fighting these people for no reason, and ISIS is somehow some sort of social justice group. And they were like, well, let's go help them out.
I'm going to go join them so I can fight America. It's like, okay, well, you went to go join it. I'm sorry, man.
There's a slew of college kids that think that they're over there being good guys. We're getting persecuted because they're singing too loud in church by the U.S., and it's clearly not the case.
Obviously, because this lady wants to come back so bad, but she can't. I'm sorry.
Right.
And there's a similar situation going on with a British woman. She did the same thing. She left Britain, joined ISIS, and now wants to come back.
Well, man, unfortunately, they took a huge risk in doing that because they're probably going to be killed now.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I want to, because like I said, I feel compassion for her, because I know, like, you made a mistake, but this is a huge mistake. You didn't just accidentally steal a Snickers bar, man. You dropped out of. You had to do a lot of stuff to do this. You had to do a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, and you still did it. And now you're living with the consequences. And now you're like, because you just think, oh, Uncle Sugar, the United States is going to let me back because it's like, it's the United States. We're pushovers. Let me back in. The United States is a great country. Now that she thinks that, she's like, they'll let me back in. No problem. I'd rather go to prison in the United States and stay here. But it's like, dude, you joined a terrorist organization. It'd be different if you just went over there to visit. You joined ISIS. You joined a terrorist organization, one of the worst, and then want to come back to the country. It's like, no, man, that's how like bombings and shit happen.
Yeah, that's where the real gray area is, because I have to feel for the girl, because I have a daughter and I know she's going to do stupid things. We all did stupid things when we were 20 years old, man. Mm-hmm. But for her to have to live with that, for that stupid kid decision for the rest of her adult life, that kind of sucks that that's the case. But I definitely understand both sides of it, because that's a huge security risk, because who knows what she knows, and she's given to the terrorist organization.
That's what I'm saying. She could come back and give messages and shit. And I mean,
true, absolutely. But at the same token, what is she really going to do from prison?
Talk to people. She can have people come in and like visits and stuff like that, and she could relay information. I don't know. Unless they put her in solitary forever.
Just have her killed.
Call me callous and call me a bastard, whatever you will. But I think her coming back would be an issue. I think it would open it up for everybody else, man.
I don't think it would.
That's how society works, unfortunately. Really don't.
Well, you don't have to fucking bend to society's will just because they think, oh, well, we let one, I guess we got to let them all back.
Well, this is the one that brings up that question, though. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's a lot of others that have done this. This is just the biggest news story because, it's a woman. She's like, oh, I made a mistake and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you built a life over there now. You've been over there for 4 years. You've had 4 husbands. You have a kid. You have all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel bad for her, but then I mean, it's a situation that it's really hard to climb out of that hole.
Yeah. And I can't even say that I really feel bad for her because she was still an adult and made a conscious decision.
That's what I'm saying.
But
well, you just said she wasn't an adult.
She wasn't a full... Oh, she's technically an adult, but in my mind, legally, she is not a fully formed adult, capable of rational thinking.
Well, she's 20 years old, man. Like, how long do you have to be a kid before you know not to do that shit? We can't continue to baby these people.
Well, true, but science says your brain isn't even fully formed till...
What, 21?
Age 25.
Oh,
25.
Close enough. All right, moving on, because that's depressing. That's why I'm not a politician, man, because I'd make some terrible decisions. Brexit.
Shoot her in the face.
Brexit is coming to a head at the end of March, and basically it's saying that the British Parliament won't back out because of the political backlash. So there's a lot of people that say that they want to back out of this. And technically they could, but if Britain does that, they wouldn't be honoring the popular vote, which was only 51%, but still they wouldn't be honoring the popular vote, and it may give them, like I said, political backlash. So I see it going through, man. I think actually Britain is going to actually leave the EU.
That'll be interesting. See, I don't really even fully understand this. I'm too stupid. It's too nuanced for me to even get. Like, what are the benefits of Britain even leaving?
Well, they thought that it was supposed to be, they were supposed to save money and, like, we don't have to abide by all these crazy rules the EU puts on us and blah, blah, blah. But it's gonna, and a lot of people are probably tuning out and saying, oh, I don't care. It's Britain. It's Brexit. It doesn't have anything to do with us. But it does. because it's going to
Britain's
affect
a huge economy, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big economy, and it's going to affect our economy.
For sure.
But Trump said he was like, we're going to boost trade with the UK once they leave the EU. And I don't think that's going to help them because the problem is going to be the borders. So it's currently, Great Britain is England, Scotland, Wales, and is it Northern Ireland?
Something like that.
I think so. It's like basically 4 countries in one, and it's called Great Britain, whatever. So they currently have open borders with the rest of Europe, including Ireland, including this and that, blah, blah, blah. So, one, if they have to put up hard borders in Northern Ireland, that's going to cause a bunch of problems with the IRA.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to slow trade to a crawl from the European mainland, from like France and Spain and even Germany, which is the biggest economy in Europe. So, I mean, what they're estimating is that the economy would drop 4% and even as high as 10% over the next 15 years.
That's in the U.S.?
No, in the UK.
Oh, that's insane.
So I know they're like, oh, that doesn't sound like 10%, but that's a lot for a country's economy.
That's huge.
Well, already it hasn't even been quite 3 years since they did this vote. It's been a little over 2 years. And already it's had an effect on the British pound because it used to be worth $1.51 US dollars.
Right.
Now it's only worth $1.25. And the actual leaving of the EU hasn't even happened yet.
So can you imagine? It's going to dip below $1.
Yeah, it probably
if they
will.
leave.
It probably will.
That's crazy. That'll be the first time in a long time the pound hasn't been worth more than the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that's going to do to the euro, too. What do you think it'll do to the euro?
I don't know. It might. I mean, it's going to send ripples across the entire world economy, I believe. I think it's going to affect us. It's going to affect the EU because we're going to start trading with the UK, and then they're going to have to trade. Trade is going to slow down, and shit's going to become more expensive, and their dollar is going to be worth less because people won't invest in them as much because they don't have open borders.
Shit.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, man. So I know there hasn't been a whole lot of news about it over here because it's America and we don't give a shit. But it's going to have an effect on us, man. I just think it's just going to take a little bit longer than it will in the UK.
You're probably right about that.
So, and in some slightly more somber news, the population has recently passed 7.5 billion people.
Sweet.
Yep. Just happened 2 months ago. I know. 7.5 billion people. Nobody talks about that. See, we bring it to you here first on the Pull It Back podcast.
So I was reading this article the other day. It was about how in the U.S. the birth rates aren't sustainable for repopulating. Mm-hmm. And the birth rate is down like some ridiculous number since the 50s or something like that.
Oh, yeah. It's like basically each family that have one kid, like that's not enough.
Yeah, basically. Like to sustain the death rate or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, it's due to like millennials holding off on having children or not at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not people not getting married, staying single longer, living with their parents longer, not buying homes.
Being buried in debt for a long period of time.
There is that. And I think to raise a child at the age of 18 is over $1 million now, I think. Yeah.
I can believe that. I mean, everything costs a lot more, the cost of living in certain cities. Like, I mean, what was that thing that you were telling me about this morning? It was about the tech companies driving out like middle workers or whatever it was.
Well, that kind of went back to a little bit we touched on last week when we were talking about how AI may affect more jobs than we think. Mm-hmm. We were talking about, basically wage gaps and shit like that. So anyway, basically what I was saying is that AI might have a huge impact on like factory workers, service workers, things like that.
Yeah.
And I basically read an article that said that AI is going to be replacing more mid-level jobs like the service industry and stuff like that, and tech is to blame. Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes you think, like when places like Amazon and Google and all that. That's why California's taxes are so high, because the tech companies come in and they go, ooh, they wring their hands nefariously and thinking they're going to get all kinds of money. So they tax the shit out of these tech companies for their property taxes, and
then the middle wage or low wage workers are getting screwed.
Yeah, the low wage workers are getting screwed because these tech companies are designing the technology to take over their jobs. Mm-hmm. But the tech companies are thriving, and all they need is highly educated, skilled people. They don't need undereducated, maybe not a 4-year degree or whatever, a graduate's degree. And that's the people their technology is replacing, and that's a bigger portion of the job workforce than anything else. I believe.
I was reading this, and it says a small group of well-educated professionals enjoys rising wages, while most workers toil in low-wage jobs with few chances to advance. So basically, you have like these people coming straight out of college that are making good money working for these tech companies or building tech companies,
Yep.
And then but the people that are making the tech are in low-wage production worker jobs, stuff like that. So like they're not going to advance; they're just going to be stuck on a certain wage. But the cost of living and gentrification, because of the high-paid tech companies and tech, guys,
makes everything go out of control.
Yeah, it's screwing the low-wage people.
Well, and then the weird thing happens is, like, they talk about on everybody else's podcast, they talk about how the tech companies basically adopt these far left-wing ideologies. Mm-hmm. And it starts creeping into the local politics, and they have massive influence on local politics. Like in Austin, mm-hmm. Texas is a vehemently right wing. They are all about being right wing.
Yeah.
But there in Austin, there's that pocket of weird right or left wing people, and there's a lot of tech companies moving in there.
I know.
And property taxes are going to soar.
They already have.
I mean, Austin was expensive before, but now that the tech companies are moving in wholesale because the property taxes are low, they're going to start ruining. It's like it's going to be a land of the rich.
Yeah, I mean, just when I first moved here, my rent was like I think $750 for a decent sized apartment, single bedroom, which isn't that bad. $700 is like about average in the country, I think. And now that same place is almost $1,100 a month. And that's just an apartment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a house. That's a single bedroom, 700 plus square feet apartment.
Yeah.
Over $1,000 a month. That's insane. And it's like people like wages haven't changed.
No.
But the cost of living has, because they're trying to gentrify the area and kick out all the freaking poor people, so we have to live on the outskirts. And then have to commute into work.
And that's kind of how you get ghettos.
Yeah.
It's like the people are forced into the city center where there's nothing and they can't afford it because they need to be close to work. Because on the outside is where all the rich folks live, and the property taxes are ridiculous.
Yes.
So they can't live there either. So now they're caught in this city, and they cluster in these run-down parts of town that's more affordable now. And now you get gang violence and drugs and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's I wouldn't necessarily say that's happening.
This is a pretty far. This is a far. Well, that's kind of how it happens everywhere. Is
Yeah.
You got the downtown area, and then pick your direction. Like here in Louisville, it's the West End.
Well, what's messed up here is that, I mean, not just in Austin, but what's messed up in with the tech companies, they want more people to move into the cities, but it's not affordable for most people. They're like, we want more people to live in the cities because we can offer them more things and it's easier to blah, blah, blah. It's like, I get that, but it's not affordable. Like sometimes it doesn't make sense to move into the city.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's not like, you want me to move into the city and spend all of my money on just housing? It's like, no way, man.
It's insanity.
I know. Like I said, that's what gentrification is that they charge so much for property tax because of the wealth that's coming in. It literally pushes out all the rest of the people.
Good God.
Oh.
I thought gentrification was just for white people.
No. It's for everybody, man.
Oh, I thought white people were coming in and doing that. I thought it was one of those obscure racial terms for white folks.
No, it's just when big money comes in, the cost of living goes up, and it pushes all the poor people out of the city. Like, they almost artificially raise the price of living.
I gotcha.
So they can push all the poor people out. They're like, we don't want you poor people here. We want this place to be nice.
See, this is why we need Pullback Podcast, man. So we can break down stuff like this for other dumb people like myself.
Yeah.
Who don't quite get it.
I'll listen to this and be like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that. So this. I wanted to speak on this real fast because it is a huge problem now. So there was a big thing that happened over, I think, 2 weeks ago. It was the cost of palladium is now more expensive than gold per ounce.
That is an element on the video games Mass Effect. So
wow,
I know quite a bit about mining that.
Do you?
I do.
Well, palladium
it's not easy to find, sir.
No, it's not, and that's why its cost so high because there's a very, very big shortage of it, and palladium is used in catalytic converters for vehicles. So there's been a growing problem that catalytic converters are being stolen for that palladium.
Palladium. Really?
Yes.
See, I thought catalytic converters had platinum.
No.
I must have been misinformed because somebody told me catalytic converters have platinum.
No. It's palladium or palladium, however you want to pronounce it. It's
interesting.
Like I said, it's slightly more than gold right now. And it has it's not very much, but I mean, you can get enough for a couple $100 because I think it's like $1,300 an ounce right now for palladium, and it's still going up. It's continuing to rise.
Wow.
So I mean, if you have a car and it's not one of those electric ones or whatever, park it in a garage. Because it's a pretty bad problem right now, and it's just growing because thieves are just like going up underneath, taking the catalytic converters off, and then pulling the palladium out and selling it.
So, see, I'm seeing there is platinum in it, and there's palladium. So there's all kinds of the catalysts are the chemicals that neutralize or remove the pollutants.
Yes.
Check.
Yeah.
So they have tons of different metals that basically gather up whatever makes the fumes toxic and turns it into water, basically innocuous.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of very precious metal in these things. I mean, palladium, platinum, copper. I didn't realize there was this many things in the cat. I knew there was platinum, but I didn't realize palladium had become that scarce.
Yeah, it's super scarce, and they need it because of of course, the CO2 emissions, and they need everything to, be clean for the environment and all that stuff. And
why hasn't somebody come up with something better?
They did. They came up with electric cars.
Damn, that's a good point. That's a fine argument. I don't even have a comeback.
All we use is, solar panels, and we also use lithium, which is running out as well.
Yeah, God forbid it catches on fire.
Yeah, lithium, that'll explode. But, I mean, like I said, lithium is very dirty for the environment. But, I mean, still, it's, less expensive than freaking palladium and platinum and gold, copper, all that stuff that they use in it. But speaking of actually good fuel economy, the Kia Telluride.
Boy, I like that.
Kia's new large SUV that's coming out in 2020. They finally released the EPA mile per gallon rating, and it's 23 miles per gallon combined.
It's pretty impressive for that big old V6 and a 3.8 liter
I think
V6.
it looks like a Cadillac.
That's what I said. I said it looks just like an older Escalade.
Yeah.
I think it looks great too. And they don't have that stupid floating tablet you hate.
I know.
I know you were bitching about that, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. You know, I honestly think it would have all tied together if it would have had a floating iPad-like tablet.
I mean, they actually... Yeah. You sinner. But they actually used the tablet and built it into the dash because it doesn't take that much design thought to do that. That's why I hate when people just grab those little freaking tablets and slap it up on the dash and call it good. I hate that design. It's
minimalist. It looks good.
Baked. It's stupid.
It's not. God bless. It's cool. It looks neat. It's neat.
It's the worst.
It's like one of those. It's one of those floating glass bowl sinks that you're like, ooh, and the water trickles down from what looks like a fountain that comes out of the center of the earth, and it's pure because gnomes mine near it. Mm-hmm. So it's super pure. It's got all kinds of minerals, and you wash your hands, and it feels like Dead Sea salt scrub that I got off that one lady. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. So that's basically what a floating tablet is in a car. It's a natural spring water.
Ugh. It's piss poor design, and I think whoever does it needs to get shot.
Jesus.
So I just pulled this up. Actually, I didn't know about this. I guess the new 2022 Ford Ranger has been leaked.
Rancher or Ranger?
Ranger. Ford Ranger. The 2022 Ranger. And I don't know if you can see that. Hold on.
Oh. Yeah, are you sure?
If this is it, the rendering, that looks really good.
Oh, no way, dude.
If that's it, that is a sexy looking truck.
That's a good looking truck. I'd buy that.
I like it. That Ranger looks good. That was the one they should have dropped for this model.
Yeah. Well, how are people? They're already thinking about a refresh for this thing. They're like, oh, God, I don't know.
Well, because technically the Ranger that they launched here is still essentially the same Ranger that they have in Europe and Mexico.
Right.
It's the worldwide one. So
they
said they changed the front fascia for the U.S. market, but that's about it.
They didn't though. I saw one up close.
Yeah, they did.
The sides look okay, but I was like, ooh, it's okay. It looks better than I thought. But I still don't think it looks better than Colorado or Tacoma.
That's what I'm saying. But if this render is correct, that is sexy.
That is good looking. That is really good looking
truck. That looks like a beefcake right there.
It looks like you said you wanted. It looks like a smaller F1, just a small F-150.
Yeah.
Or what the Tacoma is to the Tundra.
Yeah.
Just a like a more, I don't know. I think a Toyota Tacoma is more off-road centric than a Tundra. Mm-hmm. It seems more synonymous.
Well, I mean, it's more rugged looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like a military vehicle. But
yeah, that looks freaking sweet, man.
That rendering. So for those of you listening, you may be able to go on autoblog.com and check out the 2022 Ford Ranger.
Yeah, leak.
That's going to be. If the Bronco is anywhere near looking like that too, that's going to be good.
You know what? I think the first generation of the new Bronco is going to look a little cartoonish.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I'm kind of scared.
I think that's going to end up happening, and then they're going to have to refresh it in maybe 5 years.
That's usually what they do anyway.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, it's going to be the 2020 model year. Like, come on, man, it should be out of this world.
Yeah. Some of those renderings on there just looked sick with the round headlights and everything like that.
That looked really cool, man. I like that.
I really liked that. If they would do something like that, I would just wish it'd be like the size of the Explorer, maybe even bigger, like the size of a Ford Runner, so it actually has that stance and be kind of an off-road presence. Yeah, that would be awesome. But they haven't. Ford's being real tight-lipped about this one. Only seen outlines and shit, so there's no telling. I haven't come across anything that releases anything of what it might look like. They did a little sneak of the smaller SUV. What are they calling that?
Oh, the baby Bronco?
Yeah.
I don't know what is that called. I know the
can't
nickname
remember
for
what
it right now is the Baby Bronco, and I mean that looks kind of good.
I wasn't a fan.
I mean, I thought it looked okay. I mean, it looks a lot like one of those Range Rovers, the Evoque.
Oh, like an Evoque type thing.
Almost, yeah. It looks like an Evoque a little bit, but I don't think it looks that bad.
I wasn't a fan, man.
I just
wasn't a fan.
I mean, like I said, it's okay. It's just not like a super rugged, cool looking car. I mean, it's got like, what was that car? The Ford Taurus, I think. I mean,
which one?
The SHO. Remember that?
Yeah,
it was like 2011 or something like that. It's kind of got that front end almost, and then it's got almost like a Mustang back end, like with the mixture of like an F. I don't know. It's got a lot of design cues from the current lineup, like the Ford Edge, F-150, Mustang. It's like they took a bunch of Ford parts bins and slapped them all together.
Yeah, that's...
Side profile looks cool.
I don't know. Maybe it could be mistaken for a Renegade, too.
Maybe.
But
it was Ford,
I don't know.
So I don't know.
Ford Puma? There's some people are calling it the Bronco, and some people are calling it the Puma. I don't know,
man. Like I said, if it turns out to look like what was in the leaked render photos,
yeah,
I mean, it's gonna look sweet. But I don't.
And like I said, like this. Let's see.
I will not believe it until I see it from Ford. To be honest,
like this one.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
For those of you at home, just Google 2020 Bronco.
It's a pretty well-known rendering of the Bronco. What everybody thought it was going to be before it was even announced.
It looks very classic but modern.
Yeah,
they're real tough. If they did something like that, I would be happy with that.
They should have taken that freaking design.
Probably not.
We'll put a picture of this Bronco on our Twitter page, at PullItBack1, and also put it on the Instagram at PullItBack Podcast if you want to see a picture of this dang thing. Now, like I said, this would have been a sweet looking Bronco, but it's not the case.
I'm thinking it's going to look. It's sharing a chassis with the Ranger, so I can't imagine it's going to be mind blowing.
No.
So,
like I said, I think it's initially going to be a little cartoony, and then they'll have to refresh it in like 5 years, and then it'll actually look a little bit better. And then,
as long as it would be sweet to see just a Raptor line of off road. You know how Toyota's got the TRD.
TRD, Dodge has the SRT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some really, or the Rebel packages for the Rams.
Yeah.
Just some serious off road. That'd be a cool segment to see reemerge. Just a bunch of off-roaders, because Chevy's doing it too. Ford needs to. The only thing they really have is the Raptor.
Who, the Ford?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're coming out with the Ranger Raptor.
Well, I know, but as far as like hardcore off-roaders.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're talking about doing what was it? I wanted to say, like, you know how they have the new Edge ST, the Ford Edge ST?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sweet, but what I had heard was that they were supposed to have a Ford Edge Raptor before they did the ST, and they decided on the ST.
Yeah, that was probably a smart move. Maybe the RS. I'm really upset that they're getting rid of the Focus RS.
I know.
I liked it.
Are you talking about
I never got
ST or the RS?
No, the RS.
Oh.
I've driven the ST. The ST is actually pretty damn quick.
Yeah. It's got, I think, almost 300 horsepower, right?
That thing's a monster, dude. And I was actually going to buy a Fiesta ST when I was hunting for the Fusion. I either wanted a Focus ST or a Fiesta ST, but they were pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, they had the what was it?
And I was looking used.
The ST? Fiesta?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish I could afford stuff like that because you're so rich, Behi.
Bullshit.
So, well, anyways, since we're on the topic of vehicles, real quick, I just want to let everybody know that Ford recalled 1.5 million F-150 trucks between the years of 2011 and 2013 for transmission issues. So, If you have a 2011 or 2013 F-150, go get it checked out. The ones with 6-speed automatic transmissions. The problem is that there is an intermittent loss of the transmission output speed sensor signal to the powertrain control module, potentially resulting in a temporary unintended downshift into first gear.
So that could really throw
that could ruin some things.
Rain cloud on your picnic there.
Yes.
Really ruin your weekend if you're rolling down a highway doing 80 there in Texas.
Yes. Well, I don't know
because Texans don't give a shit about life.
I think it's more along. I think it's more along the lines of like if you're slowing down or something.
Yeah.
Like it picks the wrong gear or something. But like I said, just go get it checked out. It's it's recall, so it's not gonna hurt to go take it in and get it checked out, man.
No, I had a recall on my 2018 Sonata, and it was just a software update. What the hell?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. You know, speaking of software updates, why do they still charge over $100 and something for those little micro SD cards to update your GPS system in your car?
What GPS system?
Well,
like your sat nav?
Yeah, like the built-in satellite navigation. There's a little SD card you have to buy and put it in the car, and then that basically updates the maps and all that stuff. But those cards are still like $150.
Oh, I don't have to worry about that. We just use our phones.
That's what I'm saying.
I use my phone on CarPlay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why? Well, most people have their phones, so why the hell are you still charging that much money for these these little SD cards to update maps?
Well, probably because they were like, oh shit, we can't get away with this anymore. So they have a bunch of them. They still got to try to get their money.
So they're still charging $150?
Well,
I don't know it costs that much to make.
There's still some navigation out there that require those. So they're going to get whatever they can out of them, like old Mercedes or whatever.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
Highway robbery.
Literally. But that's how you make money, is they program that shit in, make it proprietary, and you have to go buy their $100 SD card.
I know.
It's to update your navigation.
So freaking stupid. So, anyways, Formula One kicks off in just 2 more weeks. March 8th.
Ooh, we could probably watch a race while I'm down there in Texas.
I know, man. Well, they have that Formula One documentary on Netflix.
Which one is that? I haven't heard of that one.
It's called Drive to Survive. It's a 10-part behind-the-scenes documentary filmed from last season.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. They gloss over Lewis Hamilton's championship battle with Sebastian Vettel. But the only thing is, Mercedes and Ferrari didn't participate in Netflix filming behind the scenes for those two teams.
Why not?
I don't know. They're too secretive. Because they're both the big boys, man. They don't want anybody to know what they're using or what they're doing with their stuff.
Mercedes and Ferrari.
Mercedes and Ferrari backed out of it, and they said that they weren't going to be a part of that Netflix thing. So,
well, that sucks.
But either way, I'm excited to watch it.
Yes.
I know there was an article I was reading about the F1, the tire blankets.
Yeah.
Well, they used to be able to warm the tires to 100 degrees Celsius, but now they can only do it to 80 degrees Celsius. Which, when they were testing the cars in Spain, I guess the track was really cold, and because the tires weren't as warm as they were used to, they were like spinning out, and like most of the drivers were really pissed. Like everybody was pissed. Like it took like twice as many laps to get them warmed up than they used to.
I wonder why they did that. Was it trying to make it more competitive?
I guess. I don't know. I think that's really stupid, though.
I think if you're in Formula One, you should just let them do whatever the fuck they want. Put rocket boosters.
That's what I'm saying. That was the whole point.
Gatling guns. Yeah, that was the point of Formula One from the get-go. Now they're putting restrictions on this? What the fuck?
But there is so many restrictions on it. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I understand for the need of safety, but these manufacturers should be able to go bonkers with their motors. Like in a road-going Ferrari versus like a Ferrari, I don't know, FF. What is it? What is their most the LaFerrari?
Oh yeah.
The LaFerrari.
which is
if that went the Ferrari, if that went up against just a McLaren MP4-12C or 570S, it's gonna burn that piece of shit to the ground.
Yeah,
it's gonna leave it in the dust. So why wouldn't these manufacturers be able to build their cars that way to show everybody who the fuck is boss? Like if Ferrari can make a superior turbocharged 6-cylinder is what they have to have. They can just design the best one without any restrictions. Maybe they just got to keep it under 1,000 horsepower or something.
Well, I mean,
why wouldn't they be able to test that?
I think there'd be a little too much domination between those two because they get to hire the best of the best.
Yeah, but it'd be cool.
I know it'd be cool, but they had that when they did.
Well, none of the other groups win. Yeah, none of the other groups win anyway. Well, when is the last time Renault won a race?
But that's why they're doing these restrictions so that there would be more competition.
I get it. I understand that.
They're just getting their asses handed to them week in and week out. So,
but they're still not winning, even with the.
That's
so
what
they're
I'm
just
saying. They're just trying.
Shit.
It's just like with the NFL, man. The Patriots win the Super Bowl 50% of the time.
Yeah.
But they use the draft to try to make it more, competitive. But they just don't. It's just one team wins endlessly. So, anyways, there was some news about the new Samsung event that happened, releasing the new Samsung Galaxy. What is it? S10 now?
Yeah.
S10 and the S10 Plus. It has the little hole punch camera in the front, so the whole screen or the whole front of it's a screen.
And it lights up when you do different things. It's a cool looking phone.
It is cool looking. It's got a fingerprint scanner built underneath the screen.
Yeah, use some kind of subsonic wave or something.
Yeah, to read your fingerprint. That's just crazy.
That's insane.
You put your finger on the screen, and then it reads your fingerprint through the glass and unlocks your phone.
That just seems, Samsung is trying to fit the most technology and the most utility and usability in their phone. They're focusing on that shit.
Yeah.
Apple is focusing on design.
Prestige.
Prestige. We're working on a way to make less of a phone for more money.
Exactly. They do make pretty stuff, though. I mean,
they are literally the Porsche of the phone world.
Yeah, well, I have an iPhone, and I have a MacBook, and I have an iPad, and I have AirPods.
See, you're caught in that.
I got an Apple TV.
You're caught in that little tribal circle. I also have an iPhone, but I don't have an Apple computer. I have a badass Acer. Has the same Intel core, same processing speed as a MacBook.
I know, but the MacBook, I mean, I like.
And I only paid like $800 for it, so I paid about half.
Yeah, that's about right.
The only thing I have to do is keep viruses off of it.
I don't have to worry about that.
That's a very important thing. No, that's a misnomer. MacBooks can get viruses.
I'm sure they can, but I haven't. I've had it for years and years now.
You're just not looking at the right pornos.
Matter of fact, I'm recording it on a Mac right now.
Whoa.
Yep.
So you're not visiting the correct porno site, sir.
I don't think you understand. Macs are for creators and artists, okay?
Yeah. If I could reach through the camera and choke you. No, I bought this Acer. I was going to actually spend the money and get a MacBook just because I really wanted one.
Because they are good computers, man.
And they last a long time. They last a long time. They really do.
Time.
And I got to thinking about it. I was like, they're great. I know it's going to last a very long time. The user interface is great. It's usable. Chelsea can use it. I can use it. Isabella can use it.
Yeah.
But I was like, let's break this down. Let's see what kind of core processors they got. Mm-hmm. Okay, one has an Intel i5. MacBook has an Intel i5. What is the RAM? And it was I can't remember, but it was right. It's basically the same exact stats.
Yeah.
Some were even a little bit better on the Acer, like something like a better camera, for web browsing.
Well, that's the thing with
chat.
Apple, though. It's like it's not necessarily about the stats. It's just so it works.
No, I get that.
The whole Apple thing is like, they're like, we're just gonna make it so everything works properly.
But they're going away from that. They're focusing more on design than they were focusing on
They've always been
function. That sucks.
Well, I mean,
but I'm saying this Acer that I got, I've had this for, I don't know, 4 years now, and it has been perfect. I've had zero. Of course, it has Windows, so it wants to update every other day.
That's annoying. Well, so
that is annoying
now, honestly.
Well, that's annoying as shit. But the cool thing about this is it can be a tablet as well. Mm-hmm. So
isn't that
I
fancy?
really like it. I like it. And I only paid like $700, so I spent a little bit more because you can get some pretty cheap ass PCs. Yep. But I spent a little bit more because I wanted one to last for a long time, and it's done pretty damn well. So we'll see here in the near future. But
I mean, well, regardless, I still think Macs are the better computers. But as far as the phones go, I don't know. It's a toss up right now.
But I'm kind of in the Apple, tribe there when it comes to just usability.
I'm buried pretty deep in that too.
I was pretty pissed today when my facial recognition wouldn't work, but I think I got something on the camera it wouldn't let it see. Oh. So I figured it out. But I was looking at the
crumbs covering up the camera.
Go fuck yourself. But no, I found the video on the S10 and whatever, and read the articles, a couple of them, just kind of explaining what the cameras were and the pricing on it. So they're like creeping up there with iPhone pricing. Some of them are way more expensive, like the Fold.
Yeah, the new Galaxy
Fold one. Yeah, but
$2,000.
Yeah, I mean, Samsung, like I said, they're packing as much utility and cool gimmicky features into these phones as they can.
Yeah.
They're gonna the real things that people are gonna use is a really good camera. You can text and you can call. You can also access the internet really fast.
They have 5G. It has, well, I mean, more power to them for actually launching the first foldable screen phone. I mean, that's awesome. That's door
crazy.
For a lot of cool stuff in the future.
Yeah, we're gonna have Tony Stark's phone like on our wrist here in a minute.
I know, it's gonna be sweet. So I mean, like I said, more power to him for releasing that at $2,000. That's obviously not meant to be a mass market phone. I think the S10 and S10 Plus or whatever it is supposed to be the mass market phones, but just it's cool to see the Fold.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's going to pave the way for some really cool new technology that's going to be utilitarian and not just gimmicky. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually use it.
We'll see what Apple does, man. I want to see what their response is to all this stuff coming out from Samsung.
Yeah, well,
if they don't clean it up, man, Apple, if you're listening,
well, their sales have been falling.
Switch.
Yeah, Apple's been losing a lot of sales, which really sucks.
When people say that, they're like, "Oh, Apple's been, they've been losing a lot of sales." Like, yeah, technically they have, but they're still almost worth $1 trillion, right? They're fine.
Yeah, I'm sure they're. Yeah, but it's just odd to see that big of. Everybody's like, they can see like a little crack in, and they're like, "Ooh, look at them! The gods can bleed."
Yeah,
and they're trying to like burrow their way in and be a parasite and shit all over them.
I know, man. Well, that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter at PullItBack1 and on Instagram at PullItBackPodcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow for the weekend sports update. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.